Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Real Sports Updates here, back again with another video. So today's video, I'm covering offensive line for the Los Angeles Chargers going into training camp. Now, this is one of the most, I would say, complete positions for the Chargers. Now, obviously, the right tackle position is going to be crucial. You know, whoever they plug in there is going to be crucial to the success that the Chargers have on offense. And that's throwing or running the ball, right? You're going to have to. You don't need a All-Pro. You don't really need a Pro Bowler, but you need a guy at the right tackle position that is going to be complementary to all the other four positions which are locked up. Now, this is going to be a very interesting training camp from the perspective that obviously right tackle I just went over, but this is a depth training camp as far as the offensive line goes. There are guys out there who are Pro Bowlers, some of the best at their positions, right? Specifically Rashawn Slater, specifically Corey Linsley, right? There are guys out there who really know what they're doing and who are really some of the best offensive linemen in the entire NFL. Now, depth is going to be important, and obviously for obvious reasons, right? We've seen what happened week 18 against the Raiders. I went over it many times, right? Storm Norton, he got pushed around pretty good by Max Crosby. It was just a bad matchup, but I think those games are the ones that you're trying to avoid, right? If you're the Chargers, you have pretty much everything locked up. Defensively, you're good. You got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You have one of the most talented and productive running backs in the league. This offensive line needs to be shored up from a depth position, right? You want to be able to, plug a guy in, right, without him getting whooped all game long. Right now, like I said, you don't need All-Pro status. You don't need a Pro Bowl status. You just need a guy to do his job. And I think this is going to be a very, very, very important training camp. And, for guys to be able to fill in at a replaceable level is going to be very, very important. The thing about the offensive line as well, too, is that there's not a lot of spots that are going to be, up for grabs, right? There's not a lot of spots that are going to be, have a competition for or whatever. So I expect a lot of young guys to try to come in and step up, right? Try to show what they can do. Whether it is, making the 53-man roster or, just being in consideration for the practice squad. I expect a lot of guys, the younger guys, to come in and, really be aggressive, really focus in and hone in on their skills, right? Because if you're an offensive lineman, if you're a bubble offensive lineman, right, this is the team you want to be a part of because the Chargers are going to have success on offense. And this is the team you just want to be a part of. You want to be able to learn from the best, right? Learn from some of the best in the game. And then you also want to be able to practice against a Khalil Mack, be able to practice against a Joey Bosa, Sebastian Joseph Day. You want to be able to hone your skills up against some of the best defensive players in the league as well, too, right? As they say, iron sharpens iron. So if you're a bubble lineman, you want to be on this team. You want to be on the squad. In my opinion, the one obvious cut for me is Brenden Jaimes, right? This guy has, he's been in the league for 2 years. And in doing research for this video, he's played 5 snaps in 2 years. 5 snaps. What does that really do for the Chargers? It really doesn't do anything. Now, I thought this guy was going to be able to be plugged in last year when Oday Aboushi got hurt. It was that week 4 game against the Browns. He got hurt. I thought they were going to plug in Hyman. Obviously, they didn't. They plugged in, it was Michael Schofield, I believe, right, at the right guard position. And I was actually surprised by that because, I was hearing stuff about Brenden Jaimes and how good he was and such, whatever. Apparently, he hasn't done enough to convince Brandon Staley, to convince Joe Lombardi, to convince the offensive line coaching staff that he is good enough to be in game. So, to me, if he wasn't good enough last year, he's damn sure not going to be good enough this year because this offensive line is they are going to eat and they are going to do their thing. So if he wasn't good enough to play on last year's offensive line, I don't think he's going to be good enough to play on this year's offensive line. So to me, that's a cut right there. I just don't see him having any value, right? If you can't get out there, if you can't beat Michael Schofield out, what's going to happen if God forbid Zion Johnson goes down with an injury? What is he going to do? Is he going to be a turnstile at the right guard position, right, or just any guard position, right? He is an interior lineman, so what is he going to do? If he wasn't good enough last year, he's not going to be good enough this year, and I don't think that is the way that the Chargers want to go. Now, it depends on how many offensive linemen the Chargers want to carry this year. I got 8 guys already that are going to make the team. So, like I said, there's not going to be a lot of competition. So, I got obviously Rashawn Slater, Matt Filer, Corey Linsley, Zion Johnson, Trey Pipkins, Storm Norton, Jamari Sawyer, and Will Clapp. I think all those guys are going to make the team. That's 8 offensive linemen right now. Again, and I've alluded to this many times, do the Chargers carry 3 quarterbacks? If they don't carry 3 quarterbacks, if you free up a spot on the 53-man roster, then that's an extra spot for another lineman, right? So, again, I just don't think Brendan Hymus is going to make the team. I think he's going to be cut. 5 snaps in 2 years doesn't do anything, right, with ample opportunity to play. And, just not being able to, a starting lineup for any game, right? That's just not, I don't know. It's just really not... It's not the way that I think the Chargers should go. So, nothing against him personally, but, I just don't think that he's it. Now, from there, do the Chargers, Cyril, I believe his name is Forrest Cyril, does he make the team at number 9? There's a couple other guys on there, too, I think, that are undrafted free agents. Do they, slide in? Do they perform in practice, in training camp? Do they perform in the preseason? Do they make the team? So I think the Chargers could carry another lineman. But it just depends on what the quarterback position does, right? You get 2 quarterbacks, then you're freed up for another offensive lineman. We'll see when time gets here. Now, obviously the right tackle position is going to dominate camp, probably from both perspectives, right? From offense, defense. The right tackle position is going to be crucial, and I don't think, it's my opinion that I think Trey Pipkins, I think he starts the year off at right tackle. Now, he has struggled in his career a bit, so I think, I don't think his leash is going to be very, very long. I think if he goes out there and he's getting beat, within the first 3 weeks or whatever, I think his position is going to be on the line, right? And I think, it'll probably be, a day-to-day thing in practice, right? Does Storm Norton get in there, right? Has he shown that he has improved, his game from last year or whatever? I just don't think that the leash is going to be that long on Trey Pipkins. I don't think it'll be that long on Storm Norton either, to be honest with you. I just don't think that both of those guys have had their struggles, right? They've played some good football. They've put some good stuff on film, but I think both of those guys, their leashes are going to be a little shorter, just because, you don't want defensive ends getting clean hits on Justin Herbert. You really don't want that. You want to avoid that at all costs. So I think, that position is going to be watched, very intently by, everybody from your offensive line coach all the way up to Tom Telesco. That's going to be a very, very important position that, again, you don't need a Pro Bowler, but you need a guy to be able to step in and at least get in the way of, defensive ends coming down and, hitting the quarterback. That's what you want to avoid at all costs. And, from everything that I've been hearing in the offseason, Trey Pipkins has been really on his grind. He's been working with Rashawn Slater and his trainer. So I've heard that he has improved, but, we will see. We'll see. I'm looking forward to, seeing what he does in training camp. I'm looking forward to seeing how he's able to hold up against, some really good defensive ends on the Chargers, right? The Chargers defense, I'm looking to see how he holds up against those guys. I think that will tell the story of how he will fare during the season, right? Especially in the AFC West. If he's able to hold up, then I think it'll give me a lot more confidence. I think it'll give Charger fans everywhere a lot more confidence. But, we'll see going forward. Only time can. Now, again, this is going to be one of the best offensive lines in football. And, just speaking from a unit perspective, right? This is going to be one of the best offensive lines from a unit perspective, right? Now, obviously, there is a lot of talent on the line, right? Especially if Zion Johnson is what we all think he is, and what we all think he could be. This is going to be a very, very good unit, regardless of who's playing right tackle. So, training camp, right? This entire offseason, I think, was a depth draft, right? The Chargers got to find depth at, some of these positions, right? And then, when you look at the Jamari Sawyer, right, he's a guy he can play. He's played big-time football in college football, so he is a guy, I think, if push comes to shove, he can step in, right? He can step in right away and he can hold his own in the NFL, right? Will Clapp is a guy who is very familiar with the offensive system, right, under Joe Lombardi. So he is a guy, I think he was a value signing. He has had snaps, I think, at both guard and tackle, and possibly center, I think, as well, too. So I think that was a value signing. So obviously he's a guy he knows what's expected of him, right? So he is obviously probably the most important depth piece at this point, right now. So again, it just depends on if the Chargers want to carry 9 offensive linemen, right? If they can, I think that would be the best. Possibly Forcero, maybe somebody else. Maybe there is an undrafted rookie who comes in and who impresses, or maybe he is maybe Forcero goes to the practice squad. I believe he was on the practice squad a little bit last year, and maybe a rookie steps up and takes the last spot. Whatever it is, right? There's a lot of flexibility that the Chargers have as far as how they want to play this offensive line depth, but I think this is going to be a depth position in training camp, right? All 4, from left tackle all the way to right guard, it's all of it is locked up. Now it's just depth. It's getting the guys who are not starting, getting them to learn the offense, just the offense in general, but being able to function right at different positions. And I think the best way to do that is to just throw these guys in and see what they're able to do, right? See what they're able to do in practice, see what they're able to do in the preseason, and we'll see what happens going forward. But at this point right now, it's too early to tell who like the final roster spot, maybe final 2 roster spots is going to be. But like I said, I don't see Brendan Hymus making the team. But honestly, reading these names off and just going through and just looking at these guys, looking what they've done, either in the league or in college. This offensive line, this is a Super Bowl offensive line to me. The Bengals got there last year with a, middle of the pack, probably a little below average offensive line. This is a Super Bowl offensive line to me. This is a line that can create holes in the run game, and this is a line that can definitely protect Justin Herbert, in the playoffs, right? And, just depending on who you play, what game plan it is, right, you can slide protection over to the right side to help out Pipkins or Norton or whoever's in there. But this is a Super Bowl winning offensive line. This is definitely, at the very least, a playoff offensive line. This is a AFC Championship game offensive line, at the very least, in my opinion. So I'm very excited about this, but, it's going to be interesting to see how things shake out, once the final rosters are set. But again, I'm just giving my opinion here, and, we'll see what happens going forward. Very, very excited to get into camp. It's coming up right around the corner, about 2 weeks away. So we will see what happens, and, hopefully this is a good camp where the Chargers are able to find depth on the offensive line, and hopefully everybody stays healthy. So, but that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. Be back with more content very, very soon, and just want to thank you guys for all your support, and until next time,